the untold story of the 9-year-old serial killer, Amarjeet Sada. There have been stories of child murderers, tiny humans who seem harmless but have taken a couple of lives in their very short life. They are usually the hardest stories to believe, but they are sometimes one of the most gruesome ones yet. We have probably heard of a couple of child killers, and we will be looking at one today. Welcome back to the Crime Lab channel, the place where you find the truth about crime stories. Look further for shocking stories about crimes that weren't well reported. And don't forget to subscribe and like the video. In today's video, we will be looking at the untold story of Amarjeet Sada, the 9-year-old serial killer. There have been many reasons why people do what they do, especially when it comes to murder. Some people have reasons like trauma, revenge, jealousy, and more. The question that comes to mind now is, what made Amarjeet Sada commit murder? Let's look at the events surrounding his killing spree, and hopefully, we can find an answer that makes sense. Amarjeet Sada was born in 1998, and he is originally from Begusarai in Bihar, one of the largest states in eastern India. His family later moved to Mashahari, another district in Bihar. Amarjeet Sada is known as the youngest serial killer in history, and probably one of the most efficient and atrocious ones yet, killing 3 children between 2006 and 2007. He was only 8 years old when he was caught as a killer. Little is publicly known about the young boy born in the relatively small farming town of Begusarai in the state of Bihar, India. Much about him was suppressed in court because of his age. However, we know that Sada's father was a laborer, the family was regarded as poor, and none had consistently attended school. Some would say that his murderous actions were due to poverty, as his life was spent in poverty due to family circumstances with his father being a poor farmer. But there is more to this than that. People and police in the Begusarai district's Musahari village were sleepless for nights due to the case of Amarjeet Sada. At the start of the investigation, the police did not believe that an 8-year-old boy could be a killer. I mean, who would have believed such a story? However, police in Bihar, one of India's poorest states, continued to investigate the claims that an 8-year-old boy had killed in cold blood 3 babies, including his 8-month-old sister and 9-month-old cousin. While the story was difficult to swallow, the villagers went ahead to explain the truth. In the end, the police also became as shocked as the rest of us when they found out that this innocent face had a concealed cruel personality. According to Amarjeet Sada's uncle, some family members were aware of the crimes, but they were considered family matters and were kept within the family in the hopes of protecting the young boy. However, they could no longer hide his murderous actions and protect him from the consequences after he murdered his 3rd victim. For some reason, the boy was motivated to beat his 6-year-old cousin and 8-month-old sister to death in 2006, and in 2007, Khushbu, a 6-month-old baby. When the investigations began, Amarjeet confessed his crimes and explained how he had done a series of murders in the village. During the police investigation, when the officer questioned Amarjeet Sada about how he committed such murders, he smiled and said he was hungry and needed something to eat. The police gave him some biscuits to eat and reported that he didn't seem nervous or remorseful. He was also unemotional when telling them about Khushbu's murder. After eating them, he told the police that he took the babies to an empty area in the fields and hit their faces with heavy bricks. He kept on hitting their faces until they died. After confirming that the bodies were not breathing anymore, he covered them with leaves and mud. As previously mentioned, his final alleged victim was a 6-month-old baby girl named Khushbu. Khushbu was found buried in the town and was the straw that broke the camel's back, as the family couldn't keep the matter quiet anymore. This was mainly because she wasn't a child from the family. The baby's mother, Chunchan Devi, told police that she had left her baby sleeping in the primary school during the investigation. The baby was missing when she returned after a while. So, a search was initiated to find the baby. Not long after that, Amarjeet Sada, a neighbor of the Devi family, faced allegations by the people in his community. They all knew he had a dark streak of sorts and had previously suspected him of the deaths of the other children in his family. The villagers were responsible for calling the police to speak to Amarjeet Sada. But the police didn't believe at first that such a young child could know anything about a missing baby. When the villagers could not find the baby, Amarjeet Sada's parents were pressured to tell the truth and eventually allowed their son to admit that he strangled Khushbu, hit her with bricks, and buried her in a shallow grave. He told them, "She was sleeping in the school. I took her a little away and killed her with a stone and buried her." Amarjeet told the villagers that he strangled the baby and took the villagers to the spot where he killed and buried the baby a few hours ago. The villagers then called the police for an investigation of the case, as he was able to lead the police to the recently buried baby. They believed him when he also revealed he'd previously murdered his little sister and cousin. Inspector Shatrat and Kumar said the killings had been carried out identically, as investigations eventually revealed all children had been murdered by beating. Once in custody, police said Amarjeet smiled a lot, but did not speak. It was the first time the police had heard about such an incident, and even looking at his face made many of them feel scared, sending icy chills down their spine. When this young boy was taken to the station, he continuously stared at the officers with an icy gaze, obviously lacking remorse for what he had done. After Amarjeet was arrested, the police presented him in court. Amarjeet Sada posed a judicial and custodial problem because of his age. According to the laws of India, he was ordered to be sent into the children's home until he became 18. However, the media published Amarjeet's real name and photos despite being a minor. He was also referred to a psychiatrist after being examined by police officers. The Times of India reported that the psychologist who assessed Amarjeet Sada and diagnosed him with a general psychiatric disorder called him a sadist who derives pleasure from inflicting injuries. The police took precautionary steps by following the psychiatrist's diagnosis that Amarjeet is a dangerous killer with a mental disorder. As a result of his investigation, the police were ordered to put Amarjeet in a juvenile home. According to reports following the investigation, Amarjeet Sada was placed in a remand home in the town of Munjur because, under Indian law, a child cannot be sentenced to death or sent to prison, but can be detained at a children's home until they turn 18. In the juvenile home, he was placed in solitary confinement without contact with the other children. Amarjeet's doctor, who treated him during the case, said that he has a mental disorder in which a person is known as a sadist. In this disease, the person usually finds happiness torturing and hurting others. His diagnosis went further than just being a sadist. In Amarjeet's case, he was diagnosed with a behavior disorder that prevented him from understanding the difference between right and wrong. His doctors suggested that if he is given proper treatment and therapies. During his time at the juvenile home, he was given medical treatment with therapies and medication so that he could become a good and harmless person for society. A psychologist at the University of New Mexico, Kent Keel, said that when someone commits a crime in their early years, they tend to display psychopathic behaviors. These young children are more likely to show cruel behaviors and commit horrible crimes at a young age, or as they grow older. According to some opinions, since his father was a poor laborer, he forced Amarjeet to work early. This, combined with his family's financial state, caused his psychopathic and sadistic impulses to develop, leading to his murderous actions. In 2016, Amarjeet Sada clocked 18 and was released from the juvenile home. Currently, he is 22 years old, but after release, nobody knows where he went and where he is. It is unclear whether he is spending his everyday life somewhere in India or another country. However, there is also the possibility that he might continue with his crimes again. That being said, there are no clear reports about Amarjeet Sada to the media or the public. That ends this video. Thank you for watching this video. Hit us up in the comment section and give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos